Without rocket, nothing going to happen. So yeah, that's what space means to me. And with space, it's going to boost or empower Taiwanese confidence on everything. So that's why in English, you call this is rocket science when it's difficult. It means that you can overcome anything if you can do rocket.
From the Defense and Aerospace Report, this is The Downlink, a podcast about the intersection of space, the space business, and defense. Not just what's over the horizon, but what's happening above it. I'm your host, Laura Winter. Are you ready to hear about something other than next week's SpaceX IPO? I bet you are, but there are a few data points you may want to have. First, the global financial services firm Morningstar, its analysts say the value of SpaceX is roughly $780 billion. That's at least 44% less than what founder and CEO Elon Musk says it is. He claims the company is worth at least $1.75 trillion. Second, the S&P 500 index will not fast track, will not ease its listing rules for SpaceX. That means Musk's company will need to wait 12 months and meet that index's profitability requirements. That's in contrast to the NASDAQ 100 and the Russell Top 500, both of which recently changed their rules ahead of SpaceX's market debut. They will both list SpaceX shares within days of the IPO. Third, the Space Force awarded SpaceX 2 massive contracts, which together amount to about $6.5 billion. Now let's get to this week's episode. My guest is the Taiwan Space Agency Director General Jong-Shinn. Most everyone calls him simply Dr. Wu. But before we get to the discussion, a little background may be helpful here. Taiwan is a very large, independent island in East Asia. It's some 24 million people have held democratic, multi-party elections for more than 3 decades. Yes, the Chinese Communist Party and its People's Republic of China claim the territory. Beijing has spent a lot of money and diplomatic capital and has conducted overt and covert operations to cut Taiwan off from the rest of the world. As recently as last December, the communist-controlled People's Liberation Army conducted a blockade-like air and naval exercise. Undersea telecommunications cables linking Taiwan to its inhabited frontier island of Matsu have been cut more than 20 times in 5 years. And yet, Taiwan remains inextricably woven into the fabric of economies around the world. Well, why? Because Taiwan has made itself technologically indispensable. You probably already know that Taiwan semiconductor chips are in your kitchen appliances, your car, your phone. But Taiwan also produces the foundational hardware for artificial intelligence. More than 90% of the world's advanced AI servers and cutting-edge microchips. NVIDIA, AMD, Google, OpenAI, they're all customers. And in space, nearly 100 Taiwanese companies are part of the U.S. space supply chain. They mostly produce space-grade electronics, communications payloads, and propulsion and structural hardware, essentially system components. But simply filling orders for other people's stuff, well, that's not really enough to secure Taiwan's future on Earth and in space, especially with the Chinese Communist Party as a very pernicious neighbor. So in this episode, we have Dr. Wu to explain just what Taiwan and its space agency have done, what they are doing, and why, because whatever it is working. NASA recently invited TASA to participate more directly in the Artemis program. Here's our conversation. Hey there, Dr. Wu. It's an honor to have you. Thank you so much for making the time.
Hi, Laura. It's also my honor to be on the show with you.
Now, Dr. Wu, you are the Director General of Taiwan Space Agency, TASA. You are an aerospace engineer, more specifically a rocket engineer, and many in Taiwan actually call you Uncle Rocket. And that's because in 2012, when you founded the Advanced Rocket Research Center, that's located in Hsinchu, at what's now called National Yangming Chiaotong University, Your rocket
Yes.
center had no money and little support for building Taiwanese, that's made in Taiwan, rockets. So you led a crowdfunding campaign to get those funds. You and your team of university students together, you raised nearly 6 million US dollars from regular people, noodle stand owners to accountants. They invested in your dream of an independent spacefaring Taiwan. In fact, your story inspired the Taiwanese rock band Mayday to record a hit song with the English language title of Tough. And the 2016 music video features award-winning actor Tony Leung Kai-fai and really captured Taiwan's imagination. You could even say that that's when national support for space got some rocket fuel. Am I right, Uncle Rocket?
Yes, correct. Yes, yes. I founded the ARRC, Advanced Rocket Research, just like you say, in 2012. At that time, I do not have money to really continue the research of the rockets. But at that time, I just found a way through my friends' help and do two times of crowdfunding, one in 2015, the second time in 2020. And it's quite an amazing experience to me.
But seriously, that was more than 10 years ago, which isn't all that long in terms of developing space systems. And now here you are with that dream leading TASA. So, what is TASA? The audience has a concept of space agencies, that's for sure. But what is TASA for Taiwan? What does an independent space, operations mean to Taiwan? Why is this important?
I think if Taiwan have the capability, I think TASA is an agency and is set up to promote Taiwan's space development with enough. If Taiwan has this space capacity, you can see that, as we know, Taiwan has been an indispensable part of the global supply chain for the past 5 to 10 years. In Taiwan, there are roughly 200 to 300 space companies. And as you know, everybody knows, I think, in the world, Taiwan can make things faster, cheaper via mass production. Taiwan are very good. I do believe that without Taiwan's industrial support, starting won't be started now. Secondly, if Taiwan had the space capability, Taiwan can Taiwan can deter some potential conflict, especially Indo-Pacific. I think this is very important for the stability of the region. So Taiwan do need the space capability. So that's why Taiwan Space Agency, TASA, exists. Yeah.
Now, you also have some news, some huge news to share that isn't very well known here in the United States, but it should be. And that is that NASA made an invitation to TASA to respond to a very particular RFI, or request for information, regarding the Artemis program, the moon program. And just for everyone's edification, RFIs often precede requests for proposals, or RFPs. And if a proposal is accepted, an agreement is drawn up and usually signed. RFIs are the beginning of a contracting and procurement process. So this NASA news is really big. What is this RFI about? What is the opportunity for Taiwan? And what does this mean for Taiwan's space ecosystem?
I think it happens just around the end of April, just 2 months, 1.5 months ago. And the NASA proactively invite Taiwan to join the NASA's Artemis program. And because Taiwan is not able to sign the Artemis Accords, we are not able to sign it, but NASA intentionally to put Taiwan an extra, we can call it Taiwan Plus, to be along with more than 60 countries who sign Artemis Accord. So we are able to propose something directly to NASA through the Artemis program. And this is very important. Is in old days, Taiwan's space industry can only have the participate the kind of space program in US through US's company. So we can act only as OEM manufacturer, okay, order and manufacturer. But now we are able to directly engage with the end application. So we will know how the system needs, and we can design system and directly talk to NASA. So this is I think this is kind of groundbreaking for Taiwan's space industry. So this is very important for us for the future space development. Yeah.
And what are you doing as in TASA? What are you doing to organize this response, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're looking to produce inputs for 32 technical gaps in the Artemis lunar exploration program, right? But you, as you said, you have 200 or so uh, Taiwanese space companies, you have academia, you have government. What are you doing to prepare to make proposals and to become more involved?
Yeah, we have been organizing a team at this interning, and we are evaluating. We are trying to create this. We call the Artemis space program matrix. And for example, we have a 32 item, right? And then we will sort of investigate and survey which company, for example, we have for item number 3, which company in Taiwan can really do it or have the potential to do it, or the government research institute can do it, or the university, which university. Then what kind of role TASA can act. So probably in June or July, we will compile a matrix with 32 terms with a different company, and we will sort of converge to several important critical systems which can be applied on the lunar surface in terms of their food and clothing or everything, and even the transportation or communication for the astronaut to survive. And so we like to contribute directly from there. So this is very important, and I do believe my minister, the National Science and Technology Council, the minister of that, we probably will organize, we probably call it LITA. It's a Lunar Industrial and Technology Alliance. So we like to put it as a Taiwan space team, and to work on this one. This is a very unique and golden opportunity for Taiwan's future, especially in the upcoming, not only space economy, but also the lunar economy to come. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true or not, because I'm not a lawyer and I believe in lawyers. But are there any legal obstacles to TASA and NASA being able to work directly with one another? Because I know that the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives are getting ready to vote on the Taiwan America Space Assistance Act. But is that act actually necessary for NASA and TASA to work more closely together?
Yes, I think so. It's just lay out the framework and the structure, how NOAA and the NASA work with TASA. And in old days, we have a difficulty. It's very challenging for us to even contact NASA for different kinds of centers. And the administrative bureaucracy is tremendous for us. But with this TASA Act, it really passed the floor. It will help us and speedize, because this act requests NOAA and NASA to work with TASA in Taiwan Space Agency, in many disciplines. For example, like satellite application, satellite technology, space exploration, and space science. We can have a very flexible mutual visit. And this encourages Taiwan's younger generation, and also Taiwan's space industry quite a lot. With this, I do believe Taiwan could become more important part of the U.S. Space supply chain, and we can work together in the long run. Yeah.
Well, not every space agency in the world gets this kind of an invitation from NASA, right? I mean, there are lots of different space agencies
Yes.
on all the continents, but this kind of invitation is special. and from the U.S. House and the U.S. Representatives to get their attention as well. And it's really, I think, important to note that when Jim Bridenstine, who is a former NASA administrator, right, when he initiated the Artemis program in 2019, that was 7 years ago, and Taiwan's space agency was not really a contender. In fact, TASA had a completely different name and different responsibilities, and it was called the National Space Organization. But
Yes.
almost everything changed about Taiwan's approach to space 5 years ago on, June 16th, in 2021 with the
21,
passage.
yes, 21, yeah.
It was actually passed, I believe it was May 31st, 2021, and it passed the Space Development Act, right? So now, in
Yes.
addition to your organization's name change, which was because of that law, what about that law has made space in Taiwan different? Because it's very different than before.
I think there's a manifold. The first one is with the pass of the, I just simply call it space law in 2021. And it just laid the foundation of it began to serve as the framework and structure of Taiwan's space development in the future. And with this one, so Taiwan Space Agency TASA was founded, established in 2023. And then our government revised the third phase national space program in 2025. Without this foundation of this space law established in 2021, it's very challenging for all this to happen in a row, especially in Taiwan. So this lays the foundation. Second, with the pass of this law, and also, as I just mentioned, the third phase national space program just revised in 2025, just half years ago, and our industry and academia and the research institute, I think they were convinced the determination of our government to put more resources into the space program so they can start to invest and have dream big. So that's very important. That's the foundation of Taiwan's future space development. Yeah. Yes.
And also, doesn't it, give TASA more powers to, negotiate contracts or to make plans to also register, let's say, rocket launches, right? It also gives TASA a lot more responsibilities over the space economy in Taiwan, doesn't it?
Yes, and I think because we have become an independent administrative entity in Taiwan's government system, and we have our own independent budget, annual budget every year, and also just like say we have 13 years of the national space program, and each year we sort of more or less allocate the budget of what we should do in the upcoming 5 or 6 years. So that's our foundation. And as also our visions, because we have independent entity, we are able to sign MOU directly with any space agency around the world or company around the world. It's unlike we are under the National Applied Research Laboratory probably 4 or 5 years ago. So we become much more mobile, agile, and independent to do many things in space affairs. So we are also have more freedom to promote the domestic space industry, without any doubt. Yeah.
Oh, it's a huge change. And,
Yes.
you've made a reference to a thing called Phase 3, and that's Phase 3 of Taiwan's
Yes.
National Space Technology Long-Term Development Program. Right? That's a really
Okay.
long title.
You have done
but-
another work. Keep going.
I try, right? But
I know, okay.
there are actually 2 words at the very top
Yes.
of the Phase 3 description that I think are of real interest to this audience, and they are national security. That's a quote, right? Quote, national security, unquote.
Security.
And another word that I keep hearing from people at TASA is the word resiliency, right? Because Taiwan really needs resilient space systems for Earth observation, for communications within its own territory, and with its allies and friends. And it needs reliable local means of accessing space. And that's indigenous launch capability, which I know is really near and dear to your heart, Dr. Wu. So let's tackle these things one by one, starting with satellite constellations. You've got two major programs, and both of them are technologically advanced and should make Taiwan more secure. Now, the first is Formosat 8 Earth observation constellation. TASA released that constellation's first high-resolution images recently. And Dr. Wu, when those images were released, you were quoted as saying that the image quality strictly complies with U.S. military standards. There aren't many who can make that claim. So what is the Formosat 8 mission, and when will the constellation be fully operational?
Okay, and this we have 8 Formosa 8 satellite in a series. So we started to launch around the end of last year, 2025, and until 2031 there will be 8 in the space, and it's a sun synchronized and it's sub-meter resolution. And the first one will be 70 centimeter, the first 5, and the last one we targeting at 30 centimeter, which is quite state of the art in the world too. With that, we are able to visit Taiwan at least 3 to 4 times every day. And the other 2 is SAR, synthetic aperture radar, which I'm not sure you're going to touch on that. It's very important for us. You can just look through the cloudy sky, and also you can look in the night. So in total, we have 10 as a small constellation that will help us to maintain our national security and resilience without any doubt. In this regard.
And I think because you have the first satellite up now, will the second satellite, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to launch in December of this year?
Either December or early next year. I think depends on the transporter of SpaceX. But at least 1 or 2 satellites will be launched in the upcoming few years until 2031, because we need to put 8 in total up there. We have only 1, so we have 5 years left. So sometimes probably we need to put 2 satellites each year.
And I think it's also a little important for the audience to understand that when you're talking about, sub 1 meter resolution or 30 centimeter resolution, you're talking about how closely you can actually focus on things that are happening on the ground. So you can get a really, really clear picture about, who's where, what's going on. And it's for environmental reasons, but it's also for national security reasons too, is it not?
Yes, and definitely both of these 2, Formosa 8 and Formosa 9, can be applied for general Earth observation. It can be applied to agriculture, carbon footprint, and also the ocean color, etc. And most importantly, it can be applied for security to make our nation more secure and more resilient at any time. Because it's in space.
And speaking of securing Taiwan, we do have to talk about securing Taiwan's communications, right?
Yes.
Because the Chinese have cut, as I said earlier, at least 20 times in 5 years, the undersea communications cables to Matsu, which is to the west of Taiwan's northern coast, and the island of Penghu, which is off the coast of Jiayi County. It suffers the same situation. And this aggressive behavior is not a local problem either, because last year, a Tanzanian flagship that was controlled by a Hong Kong company had a crew of Chinese sailors, and they disabled their tracking system before they drag their anchor over the Trans-Pacific Express cable. And that cable is key. It's a link, not just for Taiwan, but most of Asia and the United States. So securing communications is a real and present problem and an international security problem. And TASA is developing a sovereign solution, and that's the Beyond 5G constellation, or B5G. So tell us about that. What is the mission and how many satellites? And when will we start to see those satellites launch?
We call it B5G, we call it 2+4. So in total, we can launch 6. So basically, with 6, it's not really for the daily operation. So it's served as an experimental LEO communication. And for first 2, and the first one we work with, we call P5G-1A. We work very closely with a U.S. company. And the second one, we have a very ambitious plan to develop our own and in-house LEO communication satellite payload. We sort of collaborate with a local company and university and ourselves to develop, and will be launched. The first one will be launched 2028, and the second one will be launched 2030. And also, I just call it 2+4. The other 4 we already awarded to big company electronic company in Taiwan, and each company need to launch 2, and they will be launched. These 4 satellites will be launched in 2030, and they up there they need to perform all kinds of tests, including handover and all kinds of end-to-end testing. And so, and our purpose to train or to sort of incubate Taiwan's big company have the satellite system integration capability with our help, and they can build up the sort of local supply chain, including Taiwan, also the foreign, as the most probably U.S. company in total. But this is one direction. We like to create a healthy ODM ecosystem for the LEO communication payload industry. But the other one, just like you say, our neighbor just often to cut our undersea cable, which sort of undermine our sort of communication quite a lot. So our government has public expressed that we like to leverage, especially U.S. constellation, for example, like Amazon LEO. They are building 3,000 satellites. And so we like to work with them, and we have been discussing to have their service as early as possible, have the broadband service probably in 2027. And then, so it's kind of, we work in 2 lines in parallel. So we develop our own technology. And in parallel, we leverage what US has already for the communication service. Yeah, that's the 2 ways we are adapting to secure our communication in the near future. Yeah.
I want to touch on 2 points that you just mentioned. And the first point is that the technology that I understand that the B5G 1B, which is the first one, does have some assistance, actually not 1B, but 1A, has some assistance from Cesium Astro of Texas. The 1B,
that's 1A, 1A from
1A, exactly. And the 1B, so that's the second satellite, will be 100% indigenously designed, completely all Taiwanese. And you were saying about a number of the satellites that they will have to do a lot of tests. That 4 of the satellites, if I'm not mistaken, will also use inter-satellite optical laser communications. Why are you guys doing that?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very important. The inter-satellite communication, I think right now is a must for LEO constellation, LEO communication satellite constellation. You just think about on the ground, you have the mesh. You have router, and you have mesh communicate with different router, and in space you need to also do something very similar. With only the laser communication, it's highly focused, and it's not easy to be jammed, not easy to be spoofed. So I think that's the way to go, and especially Taiwan has very strong foundation in the optoelectronic industry. So we do believe we can work this out in the upcoming few years, become a very important supplier in the global supply chain. Yeah.
And the other thing that you mentioned, which I think is really important, was the Amazon Leo constellation.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, just
Yes.
a number of days ago, not maybe 10 days ago or so or
Yes.
less,
Yeah.
Amazon Leo signed a deal with Far East Tone Telecommunications to provide
Yes.
SATCOM services to businesses and civilians. So they can get, connectivity with or without a cable. But what also I think is important to note here is that Taiwan also has another contract, and that's with Eutelsat OneWeb. And it is providing backup communications for government and businesses through Taiwan's largest communications company, and that is the state-backed Zhonghua Telecom Company, right? So Taiwan
Yes.
is getting connected through space. I also know that you are impatient for Taiwan to become more than a component supplier, that you want Taiwan to be makers, innovators, integrators, entrepreneurs. And TASA is opening an incubator hub in the third quarter this year. It's called
Yes.
iSpark. And applications, that's one program. And then there's another program where the applications have just closed, and that is for TAC Plus, or that's TACC Plus, International Space Startup Program. And as I said, those applications recently closed. But that's a lot of activity to support space innovation and entrepreneurs, including foreign space startups. So what is Taiwan trying to achieve here? What's the goal?
I think the goal is, simply put, is to sort of incubate especially the new startup in space. And just like you say, the formal program was handled by E3 through the financial support of MOEA, Ministry of Economic Affairs. And it's just like I say, it's going to stop at the end of this year. So that's why we designed the iSpark to more or less to just follow up. And we are trying to this iSpark is designed to have the international visions. So we are we have a collaboration with the called NEC. It's a NASDAQ, it's a institute, it's a non-profit organization called NEC. It's called, the full name is NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, set up in Silicon Valley. And we have been working very close with them. And this nonprofit organization, they set up so-called Asia Innovation Hub in 2024 in Taiwan. So we are trying to have all these startup and to have it trained or advised by the NEC or AIH, and they can go back and forth to open their horizon, not only in Taiwan, because space is global and even interplanetary. So that's what this iSpark is designed for, to open their eye, to have not the VC supported not only in Taiwan, but also abroad, especially in US. Yeah. So that's a major purpose. Yeah.
And is there like a physical location where this is going to be located?
Yes, it's located in Boai campus, National Yamin Jiao Tong University, which is only 5 to 10 minutes drive from our headquarters in the Science Park. It's very close, yeah. And also
So
it's
in
located
Hsinchu.
in university, yeah, Hsinchu, located in university campus. So it's even better to incubate the younger generation, yeah.
And also inspire, your workforce, right? To
Yes,
inspire,
definitely.
Taiwanese kids to take up engineering and to take up,
Yes.
physics and all that. So let's talk about something that you're
Yeah.
really passionate about, and that's rockets.
Right.
What is TASA doing to support its orbital launch program today, right now?
Okay, we have a program starting from 2023. So right now it's 2026. We're just stepping in the third year. And we aim at to launch 200 kilograms of Taiwan-made satellite into orbit in 2034. So it's another 7 to 8 years to go. Now, rocket is difficult. Going to space is not easy, but we do it step by step. So this requires all kinds of resources, manpower, location, facility, and technology, of course. Yeah. So
And money.
that's our plan. Yeah. Money. Yeah, of course. Money. Resources including money. No money, no project. Okay. That's a very famous. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So where is that though? Because you have a couple of programs though going on that
Yes.
are at the very early stages, right? Because you have the National Space Rocket Research Center that you are going to build just outside of Tainan and Shalun Township,
Yes.
right? And if I'm not mistaken, the
right.
opening is 2030. I mean, what is that going to do to move along your orbital rocket program?
Okay, that the facility or the research, rocket research center at Southern Township is going to be served at the Rocket Research and Development Center. We all kinds of advanced facility, instrumentation, and we're going to put roughly 150 to 200, especially young engineer over there. Yes, so that's become the hub of Taiwan's future rockets and future rocket development. Yeah. And basically
the
our,
rockets will be designed there, and I mean,
design
is there
there, but we are test somewhere else because, hot fire tester for the rocket is very noisy. You cannot just do it there. Okay. We're going to start to build it, starting from next year, hopefully, and complete it 2030. Yeah.
right? And then there is a place though where you are going to be able to test though, right? And actually launch your rockets and be very noisy. And that's going to be, I believe, in Pingtung County.
Pingtung, yeah. Yeah, right. Correct. It's called Japan. Pingtung, yeah. Pingtung, yeah.
Pingtung. And what are you going to do there? When is that going to be ready to be used as an actual rocket test facility and a rocket launch, a launch pad, an actual spaceport?
Right. And as a matter of fact, the Japan national launch first site was confirmed about 1 year ago in 2025. And hopefully we're going to start to build starting from next year, 2027, going to be finished the first phase roughly 2030. So starting from 2030, we should be able to use it for our suborbital flight of our rocket. So that's the plan. And the area is 25 acre of area. It's close to seashore. So it's going to launch to Eastern Pacific Ocean, just like every launch. And the location is very good because Taiwan is very close to equator, only 20-something altitude degree. So it's very close to, so the rotation speed of the Earth is quite fast, roughly 0.5 kilometer. So Taiwan is very good. So in the long run, we also welcome the international, rocket to come here to launch. In addition, not only our domestic one, yeah. So I think it become a hub of rocket development over there. And let me take one step back. As a matter of fact, our, the Taiwan space technology industries, we put the rocket in southern part of Taiwan and satellite in northern part of Taiwan. And we simply put a southern rocket, northern satellite in general, yeah.
And just because, rockets are your particular specialty, I'm just kind of wondering, what kind of rocket or rather, what are you looking for in your rocket design? What is it that you want to see fly?
Specifically, we are adopting the liquid rocket engine. And you can just imagine it's a, miniaturized version of Falcon 9 done by SpaceX. It's 2-stage. The first stage is with a 9 engine. And the second stage is 1 engine. And all these 10 engines are exactly the same. And it's a modularized. And yes, that's what we're going to do. And as you know, liquid rocket engine performs, their performance is very, very good. And that's what we are looking for. Yeah.
So, and just going to keep going on rockets with you for a second as we close this out. Because of your determination, and I am talking about your crowdfunding campaign at the Advanced Rocket Research Center. In 2022, your team, with that funding, you guys were able to launch the HTTP-3A S2 rocket.
Yes, right.
So when do you think we will be able to see a launch out of Pingdong? And will that rocket be a government rocket, or will this be a commercial vehicle?
First, it's a government rocket. And as a matter of fact, we have in addition to the launch vehicle program, we also have a very robust and well-planned sounding rocket program. And the first sounding rocket program should be launched in August this year. And it's not a big one, but it's just used as a test bed for the guidance, navigation, some kind of hardware, software, structure, and propulsion system. So in the upcoming few years, in addition to suborbital launch vehicle test, there's going to be a lot of sounding rocket launched by TASA, as well as a lot of sounding rocket launched by the university and even high school kids in Taiwan. Yep. And also, for example, like probably in July, around the end of July, there's a so-called Rocket Taiwan Cup initiated since last year, 2025. Especially this year, we have more than 800 high school and college students registered for this competition. It's going to be very crowded in July in Pingdong this year. Yeah, this summer. It's going to be very interesting there. Yeah.
So you have been dreaming of rockets for a very long time, like those high school students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to really kind of close this out with you on this note. I want to know what space means to you, Dr. Wu, to Uncle Rocket. What is space to you?
Okay, space is unlimited with infinite kind of dream ahead. And with that, the only thing you can kick it off is rocket. Without rocket, nothing going to happen. So yeah, that's what space means to me. And with space, it's going to boost or empower Taiwanese confidence on everything. So that's why in English, you call this is rocket science when it's difficult. It means that you can overcome anything if you can do rocket. Yeah. This is what space means to me. Yeah. It's good enough.
It's wonderful. Dr. Wu, thank you so much for making the time to speak with me.
Dora, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to your audience. Thank you very much. Yeah.
That's it for this week. For your daily dose of award-winning defense coverage, listen to the Defense and Aerospace Report with Vago Muradian. And for the maritime domain, listen to Cavis Ships with Chris Cavis and Chris Cervello, and get your air domain news and analysis from the Air Power Podcast with JJ Gertler and Vago Muradian. I'm Laura Winter. Thank you for listening.